Loggerhead Marine Life Center was founded by an incredible woman who had a tremendous impact not only on the beaches here in Juno Beach in Palm Beach County, but ultimately on our nation and our globe. I always tell people when I give tours at Loggerhead Marine Life Center that if they think one person can't make a difference, they're very wrong. Look at what Eleanor Fletcher did here. Our center today is a testament and a legacy to the work that she started 37 years ago in her condo teaching children about sea turtles. It ultimately went to her husband's office, which ultimately spilled over into working with the county for a small piece of land to use as education for sea turtles of our children in Palm Beach County here at Loggerhead Marine Life Center.
My name is Sarah Hirsch and I'm the Senior Manager of Research and Data here at Loggerhead Marine Life Center. We started the satellite tracking project last year in 2020. And our goal is to be able to put these satellite transmitters on the carapace or the top shell of sea turtles.
Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Peralt and I'm the Director of Research here at Loggerhead Marine Life Center. So the tagging process is a little extensive. It takes about 2 to 3 hours on average per individual. So at first we have to clean the shell. So we do a lot of sanding and picking off kind of any extra pieces that might interfere with the attachment of the tag. Then we clean that with an acetone, just like a nail polish remover, to get it really clean, get everything off of the shell. Then we place what we call a super bond epoxy onto the turtle shell and then on the tag itself. Place that and hold it in place on the turtle and shape it so that it's kind of streamlined so that it doesn't create any drag within the water. We let that set and dry, and then we paint it with an anti-fouling paint, we call it, which prevents any external algal growth or barnacles or things like that from growing on the tag, which can cause it to stop working kind of earlier than it should, and then we kind of let the turtle go back into the water.
And those devices can basically let us know where that animal is in near real time. And we can collect a lot of information from those tags. So those tags can collect information not only on the animal's location, but it can also tell us when the tag is out of the water for extended periods of time. And that's important when we are tagging our nesting females, because if that tag's out of the water for an extended period of time, it lets us know that she's probably on the beach, either nesting or at least crawling up. And so that information can tell us where along the coast that she's nesting and how many nests that she's laid in a season.
With our satellite tagging project of the nesting loggerheads on Juno Beach here, the way that we kind of choose the turtles that get tagged is just based on seasonality. So the individuals that come earliest in the season are the ones that we place the satellite tags on, because that way we know that those turtles are tagged on their very first clutch or their first nest that they're laying. And so the goal of that project is clutch frequency, or how many nests the turtles lay during a single nesting season. So we want to make sure that we're tagging them during that first nesting event.
And these tags can also tell us other information about her habitat. So things like temperature is transmitted to us. And so we can look at what temperature regime she's spending time in, and if that can influence how quickly she comes back to nest.
The data collection from the tags is determined by the battery life. So depending on the settings that we have in the tag and how much data it's collecting, that kind of determines how long the battery lasts. Typically, the tags will transmit for 6 months to a year on average.
This is kind of the beginning of our project. We've tagged 17 animals so far. Our goal is to tag a total of 50 animals. And once we hit that sample size, we'll start to use all of this information to put into publications and hopefully inform management about a whole bunch of topics.
We do a lot of other projects on these animals. So we collect blood samples from these turtles to analyze their health, exposure to different contaminants, and a number of other different things that can tell us about the turtle. We collect a lot of samples for collaborators for a number of different other projects. We look at reproductive success, we look at nest temperatures, size, and injury prevalence. So the beach surveys are conducted daily from March 1st through October 31st. And what we're doing is documenting every single sea turtle activity, loggerhead, green turtle, and leatherback on the nesting beach. So each activity that we see out there, we take a very high accuracy GPS point. We mark and monitor a lot of those nests as well. So because we have usually more than 10 to 15,000 nests out on our 9.5 mile stretch of beach, we don't mark every single nest that's out there. What we have out there is only about 5 to 10% of the total nests. So once those hatch, we dig those nests up to determine a nest inventory to calculate hatching and emergence success. Based on that kind of number of nests that we mark, that gives us a proxy for the entire season and all of the species as well. Once we're putting these tags on these animals, that animal becomes extremely valuable. So we want to collect as much information as possible that we can.
So we're interested in looking at clutch frequency, which is how many nests an individual female will lay in a single season. So these females aren't just depositing one nest in a year, they're actually laying multiple nests. That means that if we have 100 nests on our beach, that doesn't equate to 100 females. And so knowing what that clutch frequency or that number of nests that individual females are laying can help us determine what our breeding population size is. And so obviously with a threatened and endangered species, knowing what our population size is critical for us to be able to protect these animals. And these data are also letting us know what areas that they're utilizing, both in between their nesting events as well as once they leave the nesting grounds here in Juno Beach, Florida, and they migrate to their foraging areas where they spend their off time refueling from all of their work that they've put into reproduction here. And so we're tracking these animals to places as north as Delaware Bay and as far south as the Bahamas. Not just looking at, where they are when they're here off of our local coasts, but where their migration corridors are and where they're spending time. So this is not just important to Florida management, but to the global management of sea turtles.